Namaste and Swagatam back. In the lessons thus far, we have looked at the different nouns, the simple nouns and the pronouns in the different declensions in the singular. And what we are going to do next is look at the first and second person pronouns in the plural forms. So, the lesson number 7 is going to be an introduction to the first and second person pronouns in the plural forms, and this is the part 1 of that. So, this particular lesson will contain an introduction to the asmat and yushmat. So, the asmat, as you can hear the sound as there, so indicating the first person, and yushmat with the you in that use in the plural pronouns in the bahuvachanam or in the plural forms. And then we will do a revision of the simple dhatu rupas or the verb conjugations that we've been looking at, and also do a practice of some more causative forms. And then we are also focusing on building your vocabulary through these lessons. But I just wanted to also mention at this point that we've already talked of in our previous course, the introduction to basic spoken Sanskrit, that when we refer to the first and second persons in Sanskrit, so we have, in English we have the first person, second person, third person. In Sanskrit actually it doesn't follow that order. So in Sanskrit we have it, it's just a revision. In Sanskrit we talk about the prathama purusha, which is actually the third person, meaning the saha, sa, tat, and then we have the madhyama purusha, which is the tvam, and then we have the uttama purusha, which is the aham. Okay, so it's just a little confusing. So to keep matters simple, because of the larger audience that I am dealing with, I will stick to the more common English usage of the first, second, third pronouns. Alright, so let's move on. We'll do a conversation with Piyush. Hari Om Piyushaha.
Namaste Arye.
Parikshayah param yuyam kutra gamishyatha.
Vayam parikshayah param saptadivasya samskrita shibiram kartum samskrita bharatim gamishyamah.
Sanskrita shibiram kutra bhavishyati.
Tat Bengaluru nagare bhavishyati.
Tad vishaye yushman kaha uktavan.
Tat vishaye asmakam shikshakah asman uktavan.
Evam yushmabhihi saha yushmakam pitarau gamishyatah kim.
Asmabhihi saha asmakam pitarau api gamishyatah.
Sanskrita Bharati Sanskrita Shibiraya Yushmat Kati Rupyakarni Asvikritavati Ugrihitavati.
Sa samstha asmat kevalam saptasata rupyakani grihitavati.
Oh, Shibira Kale te Yushmabhyam Sarvam Dasyanti kim.
Shibira kale te asmabhyam vasam bhojanam pustakam tata sarvam prayojaniyam dasyanti.
Uttamam Yushma su kim Sanskritanuragah asti.
Avashyam asmasu samskritanuragah bahu asti.
Uttamam Yushmasu, in all of you, Yushmasu Sanskritanuragah asti kim. So Sanskritanuragah, the love for Sanskrit. So Avashyam, you will answer Asmasu Sanskritanuragah asti. Bahu asti. Uttamam. Alright, so let's analyze this conversation. Okay, so here we have Arya Harihi Om Piyush, and then he says Namaste Arye, and then the question was Yuyam. Okay, so Yuyam is, like we have been doing in the previous cases, we will be indicating which person. So which person is it? It's the second person plural. So it's the first case. I'll just do that again for you. So it's the first case for the second person plural. Okay, so Yuyam parikshayah param kutra gamishyatha. Now because it's the first case, that means it's the subject of the verb, we have changed it into gamishyatha. Okay, that is important to connect. So the subject has to connect to the verb conjugation correctly. So that amount of computing is very important in Sanskrit. Next, vayam. So vayam is in the first person. So you say you, yam for the plural, and vayam or viyam, just to bring a similarity with the English. So vayam is the first case for the first person, plural. So vayam parikshayah param saptadivasiya Sanskrita shibiram kartum Sanskrita bharatim gamishyamah. Again, there is an accord with the subject. Moving on, Sanskrita shibiram kutra bhavishyati? The answer, tat Bengaluru nagare bhavishyati. So we have the seventh there. Next, tad vishaye yushman or vaha. So yushman is it's the second case for the second person plural. Yushman or vaha. Kaha uktavan? Who told you about that tad vishaye? Asmakam. So the answer is asmakam, not mama but asmakam. So which is the sixth case for the first person plural. Asmakam shikshakaha asman. So yushman for use, and for us in the second case it is asman. So this is the second case for the first person plural. Asmanaha uktavan. Next, yushma bhihi saha. Saha, the moment you see the saha, you know that the accompanying vibhakti is the instrumental or the third case. So this is the third case for the second person plural. So yushma bhihi saha yushma kam or vaha. So what does it ring a bell? We had before this asmakam. So this is yushmakam. So this will be the sixth case for the second person plural. Yushmakam or vaha pitarau gamishyatah kim. So pitarau is the dual case indicating pitacha matacha. So the father and the mother, which becomes the couple of the parents. So it's the couple of the parents, and therefore pitarau. And what do we notice there? That the verb becomes gamishyataha. So the taha here indicating the dual case for the word pitarau. Okay, so pitarau gamishyataha kim, and the answer is asmabhihi saha. So yushmabhihi and asmabhihi. So because there is a saha, it will automatically become the third case for the first person plural. So asmabhihi saha asmakam or naha, and we've seen that before. So it's the sixth case for the first person plural. Naha pitarau api Sanskrita shibiram gamishyataha. Uttamam. Moving on, Sanskrita bharati Sanskrita shibiraya. So the shibiraya here indicating for the shibiram. Yushmat. So yushmat is from you, and that's the ablative or the fifth case for the second person plural. Yushmat kati rupyakani grihitavati. How much money did she take? And the answer, sa sanstha. If it was yushmat, the relative one to the asmat will be, to the first person will be asmat. Uttamam. So asmat is the fifth case for the first person plural. Asmat kevalam, only. Saptashata rupyakani, that's 700 rupees. Grihitavati. So this is a very, very good deal to have just in 700 rupees the opportunity to have a full Sanskrit immersion for 7 days with everything looked after is really an excellent deal, and would highly recommend that you try and find such a community around you of Sanskrit Bharati and have the opportunity to practice your Sanskrit. Next, Shibira Kale Te Yushmabhyam. Yushmabhyam means to you. So yushmabhyam, to all of you. So we see fourth case and for the second person plural. So how do we know it is also that? Supposing you are in doubt, you look at the verb. So it says yushmabhyam or vaha sarvam dasyanti kim. So dadati, the moment you hear the verb dadati, you are sure that the noun accompanying it or the person who's receiving it will have to be in the dative case or the fourth case. Okay, so dasyanti will indicate that. Okay, Kim, answer and now you can start guessing what would happen. Te asmabhyam. So yushmabhyam, asmabhyam. Fourth for the first person plural. Or naha vasam, stay, bhojanam, food, pustakam, books, book, tatha prayojaniyam sarvam dasyanti. Prayojanam means needs what you need. Prayojaniyam, all that is needed. Prayojaniyam sarvam dasyanti, they will give. Next, yushmasu, which is the seventh case for the second person plural. Yushmasu kim sanskritanuragah asti. So Samskritanuraga is a composite here of Samskrita. So it's a composite of Samskrita plus Anuragaha. And I told you that we are going to be looking at different kinds of sandhis. I will just make the all right for you because it was done in a hurry. So Anuragaha means a love of, and Sanskrita plus Anuraga, the makes it a long sound, so it becomes Sanskritanu Samskritanuragaha. Okay, I'll just write that for you in the transliteration as well. Okay, there we go. So yushmasu, so these qualities we always use it with the seventh case, in you. So yushmasu sanskritanuraga asti kim, asti, and the answer avashyam, definitely asmasu, and that is the seventh for the first person plural. Asmasu bahu sanskritanuragah asti. So we see that in this way we have used the first and second person pronouns in the plural in all the cases. Now let's move on and do a little practice around this. So here we have, you have the table again. You've looked at a table earlier, but here I'm going to start presenting to you some tables which are going to be a little more complex. But what I'd like you to do is to really use this opportunity to pause the button and to do all the possible permutations and combinations which would be grammatically correct. So I'm going to just indicate to you how you can go about it, and then you can find your own way through it. Okay, so the idea is to practice the singular and the plural for the first person pronouns. So when we say aham adya shlokam patami, so aham adya shlokam patami, plural vayam adya shlokam patamaha. So what I'd like you to do is to follow the cursor, because then it becomes easier for you to keep track of the trajectory that I am using in these tables. So aham adya shlokam patami, plural uttamam, vayam adya shlokam patamaha. Next, aham shwaha katham likhami, vayam shwaha katham likhamah or lekhishyamah. So the present also gets used for the future, as we've already seen it before, but you can definitely practice with the correct future tense as well. Next, aham parashvaha natakam. Natakam is a drama, just like katha was a story. Natakam rachayishyami. I will create it. Vayam parashvaha natakam rachayishyamah. Uttamam. Next, aham hyaha दूरवाणीम दत्तवान और दत्तवती. Plural. Vayam ह्यः दूरवाणीम दत्तवन्तः. We gave it. Or dattavatyah if it is the feminine. Moving the last one. Aham parahyah subhashitam shrutavan or shrutavati, and I've left the plural for you to figure out. Vayam parahyah subhashitam shrutavantah or shrutavatyah. Uttamam. So that's one part of the story. Now you can do the second part independently, and then you can combine the whole thing. So you can do tvam api pathasi, yuyam api pathatha. I will now combine it. So you say aham adya shlokam pathami, tvam api pathasi. So you are also studying. Vayam adya shlokam pathamaha, yuyam api pathatha. Alright, so I've shown you how you can practice with the second person in the first case here. Alright, so you can use this whole chart. As I said, pause the button and go through as many permutations and combinations as you can. Let's move on to the next case, the second case, and in this one we see that it is mam or ma becomes asman or naha, and for you twam, twam or twa becomes yushman or vaha. If you can remember what we had seen these forms already in the conversation, so a little more practice with this. Again, whole lot of varieties. So I will take you through a simple one and then allow you to practice it by yourselves. So tvam adya mam milasi kim. When I put these ... it means that you have sufficient knowledge by now to start applying the conjugations for the different verbs. Alright, so you have to be very careful who the subject is so that you get it right. So tvam adya mam milasi kim. Will you meet me today? Plural. Yuyam adya mam milatha kim. Alright, now here we are also practicing the second person. So what we will do is, this was to give you the simple way of using the subjects. Now let's play with the objects there, or the accusative form of the first person and the second person. So let's do it like this. Tvam adya mam milasi kim. Plural. Tvam adya asman. Will you meet us? Milasi kim. Okay. Now you can do the same thing with here we have the form which is the causative. So let's take that. So tvam adya mam melayasi kim means, are you going to meet me, make me meet someone? Let's do it with asman. So tvam adya asman melayasi kim. The same you can do with yuyam, so the verb conjugation will change. But I want to add an extra thing here, which is you can also if you want to make your sentence a little more complicated, you can do it with the vina, which means without. So tvam adya. Let's take the second one. Let's do it with the praparashvaha to get a practice of a different one. So tvam praparashvaha mam vina gamishyasi kim. Will you go without me? And then tvam praparashvaha asman vina gamishyasi kim. Alright, are you following me there? And then you can do the same thing. Will you speak to me? Vadishyasi, na vadishyasi, and agami mase, in the next month. Coming to the lower one, so here we have aham, the same pattern but with the first person now. So aham, the first person as a subject but the second person as the object here. So aham praparahyaha, that's yesterday, day before day before the day before yesterday. So aham praparahyaha tvam drishtavan or drishtavati. And then I saw all of you. So aham praparahyaha yushman drishtavan or drishtavati. If you want to make that into the plural, so vayam praparahyaha tvam drishtavantaha uttamam or drishtavatyah. And then with the plural, vayam praparahyaha yushman drishtavantah or drishtavatyah uttamam. Let's do the niche of it. So the niche here is aham tvam darshitavan. I showed you, and the in the past tense, of course, and then I showed all of you. Aham yushman darshitavan. All right, and then we have gapitavan. I made you sing. Aham tvam gapitavan. Gitavan means I sang. Aham gitam gitavan or gapitavan. In this one, it's not so easy to say aham tvam gitavan. It means I sang you, which is a bit awkward. So for this second case, it is better to, I'll just mark that it is better to go directly there. This one is not a very logical one. It doesn't come in very easily there. Anyway, but tvam vina gitavan. You can say aham tvam vina gitavan. I sang without you yesterday. Or you can even make it like that. You say aham tvam vina gapitavan. I made someone else sing without you. Okay, so here we have this chart. Just to close this one, I will do a quick practice with you of the causative as well. So milati becomes melayati. So milati to meet, melayati to make meet. Gamishyati will go, will be gamayishyati, will make that person go. Vadishyati, vadayishyati or vachayishyati. Alright. Next, vachayishyati is to make the person speak, as you can see. Now, drishtavan will become darshitavan. I showed. And then you have Geetavan sang, Gapitavan makes someone else sing. So that's the causative as well. So lots of practice here. If you can actually just spend half an hour probably just going through all the various permutations and combinations. So what I would propose is that as you do this, try and also put in 1 or 2 words. After you finish this exercise, see if you can apply your own vocabulary to make some sentences based on this framework. That way you would integrate this practice and integrate your knowledge into this exercise. Moving on, we have Maya, which means with me. So here we have again another complex table, but I will break it down for you so that you can practice it meaningfully. So we have, so please follow my cursor because then it is easier to follow along. So, yeah, here we have Saha. I'll stick to only the singular so that we don't, only the first one instead of Sa, Tat, Bhavan or Bhavati. I'll just stick to the Saha as representative of the whole group. So, Saha, Maya Saha. Here we have Maya Saha. What happens to Maya in the third case? It becomes Asma Bhihi and Tvaya becomes Yushma Bhihi. Let's apply that. Saha, Maya Saha Pravishati, enters. Next, Saha Asma Bhihi. Saha Pravishati, enters with all of us. Next, Saha Tvaya Saha Pravishati, enters with you. And then Saha Yushma Bhihi. Saha Pravishati, enters with all of you. Alright. You can then do it with the plural, in which case it will, the plural forms and it will take those forms. So, te maya saha pravishanti or Then you can also do it with tvam. So when you do it with tvam, what happens? It becomes tvam maya saha pravisha si uttamam. So you have to put the si the moment you have a tvam, and then it will become yam maya saha pravishatha uttamam, using asmakam or maya and asmabhihi, not asmakam. So tvam maya saha pravishasi, we have seen that. Tvam asmabhihi saha pravishasi. All right. So I will allow you to look at this for a short while, but then what we will also do is I will introduce you to the other words here so that you're familiar with them. So we have the next word in this category, which is pravekshyati, which means in the future, will enter. Pravekshyati and pravekshanti, pravekshyasi, pravekshyatha, pravekshyami and pravekshyamaha with the different subjects. Na is an option if you want to negate the sentence. The other way of negating it is using the vina, which means without me. So if you want to say I don't want to enter, I will not enter, I will not enter with you, you can say aham tvaya saha na pravekshyami, means I will not enter with you. And or you can say aham yushmabhihi saha na pravekshyami, I will not enter with all of you. But if you want to use vina here, you would say aham tvaya vina pravekshyami, which means I will enter without you. And now or you can say in the plural aham yushmabhihi vina pravekshyami, which means I will enter without you. So in the first case, when we use na, the meaning is I will not enter with you. So the saha means with you and I will not enter. The negation is on the na, on the verb. But in the second case, using vina, we say I will enter without you. So it's the negation is with the relationship with the person you are doing the action with. So this is interesting here. The other words that we have here, prakostham na pravishtavan in the past tense. Prakostham is the room, so na pravishtavan. Pravishtavan, I did not enter. Nirgatavan. So nirgatavan means left, exited. Okay, I'll just write it here. Exit. Okay, nirgatavan. And then the last one, which is an interesting way of saying it, we'll do it with a saha to keep it simple. So saha maya saha swadeshe vasati, lives in the country with me, in the own country. Now saha asmabhihi saha swadeshe vasati, lives with all of us, with you. Saha tvaya saha swadeshe or nagare vasati, and then saha yushmabhihi saha swadeshe vasati. All right. So you can use the with here in the for the first person and the second person in the instrumental case or the third case, in the singular and the plural. I've given you both of this so that in your brains you have simultaneously both kinds of words that are registered. Let's move on to the next one, and here we see that we have mahyam. We'd already seen that. So mahyam or me becomes asmabhyam or naha. And now you can guess tubhyam or te becomes yushmabhyam or vaha. Uttamam. Let's do the practice here. I have simplified the chart, but it is up to you to put in fill up the different forms. The moment you see the ... it means there is some work for you to do in that case. So we have here saha mahyam or me vastram prayachati, gives me or the two ways of saying to me, vastram, dress, prayachati or cloth prayachati. Saha asmabhyam, asmabhyam vastram or vastrani prayachati. Next, saha tubhyam, to you, or te vastram prayachati in the plural. Saha Yushmabhyam or vaha vastram or vastrani prayachati. Uttamam, so gives it to you. Then you can change the person who is doing the action, either tvam or yuyam, and then aham or vayam, and you can fill that up here. I have also given these set of verbs to you, these set of verbs that you can see here, because there is a little something to learn there. So when you say prayachati, in the future it becomes pradasyati. Okay, and then the conjugation that you already are familiar with. So pradasyati, tvam pradasyasi, aham pradasyami, and permutations and combinations there with vastram, or you can fill it up with whatever you want there. Okay, another one. Now the fourth case is also used in the sense of for you. So saha mahyam sundaram pushpam kreshyati. So saha mahyam sundaram pushpam kreshyati. He will buy a beautiful flower for me. And that you can say saha asmabhyam, for us, sundaram pushpam kreshyati. Uttamam. You can do the same with tubhyam sundaram pushpam kreshyati, or yushmabhyam sundaram pushpam kreshyati. Got it? And the last one, which is a very important and oft used form or expression using the dative case, is this. Here you have it all in blue to mark the color code for you. So you say, you use the fourth also to say I like, something is liked by me. So you say mahyam phalam khaditum rochate. So I like, to me the idea of eating the fruit is likable. That's one way of translating it into English. Mahyam phalam khaditum rochate, or phalani rochante. Plural, asmabhyam phalam khaditum rochate, or phalani rochante. Next, tubhyam phalam khaditum rochate, or rochate. I can either make it a question or a simple sentence. And tubhyam or yushmabhyam phalam khaditum rochate. Okay, so that is what we have here for the fourth. And with this, again, you have a lot of options of playing around with the different subjects, the different receivers and the different actions accompanying them. Tari abhyasam karotu abhyasenaiva bhashayaha shighra pathanam or adhyayanam bhavishyati. Study the language, and with more practice your acquisition of the language is going to be speeded up. Now I've just put that in a chart for you. In this lesson we are only going to look at that many forms, and in the following lesson we'll look at a few more. So here we have the forms. You see, aham becomes vayam, tvam becomes yuyam, so the we and the you that you can hear there. Mam becomes asman, tvam yushman, or naha or vaha there. Next, maya, with me, becomes asmabhihi, with us. Tvaya becomes yushmabhihi. Uttamam. And then mahyam or me becomes asmabhyam, to us, or naha, and tubhyam or te becomes yushmabhyam or vaha. Uttamam. Huh? So you can just do vayam, asman, asmabhihi, asmabhyam. So here the action has to be reversed a little bit. Okay, for the you, yuyam, yushman, yushmabhihi, yushmabhyam. So learn it up to there. Practice as much as you can. So let's do let's look at this verse in the Gita where they have the some usage of the first person in the different cases that are available here. So let's have a look at it. Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshwabhidhasyati bhaktim mai param kritva Mame vaishyatya sanshayah. Okay, so what does it say here? Ya idam paramam guhyam. So this highest secret, those who teach this most confidential knowledge amongst my devotees perform the greatest act of love. They will come to me without doubt. And what is it? So he says here, ya is actually, we are already looking at a sandhi form here. So we've looked at this word before and we know that in its original form it has the two dots. It has the visarga along with it. Okay, so we have it as yaha idam paramam guhyam, this highest knowledge, mad bhakteshu abhidhasyati. So I'll also introduce you to the sandhi mad bhakteshu abhidhasyati. So here we have bhakteshu plus abhi, and as you can see the combination there becomes the V here. Alright, mad bhakteshwabhidhasyati bhaktim mai param kritva, by having this highest devotion in me, ma me vaishyatya sanshayah. And I will start telling you about the sandhi here already. So you have mam eva, so you have mam plus eva plus eshyati shati, and then I will take that out, delete that for now. Plus asamshayah. Okay, mam vaishyati, mam eva. So you see here there's a break, mam eva. Eva plus eshyati becomes evaishyati. Then here ti plus asamshaya becomes tyasamshaya. Alright, so anyway, this is something that we will study a little more in detail and more systematically, but I thought I'll take the occasion to present it to you. So asanshaya, without any doubt, he will attain me, he will come to me. So would you like to just repeat once after me? Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshwabhidhasyati bhaktim mai param kritva ma me vaishyatya sanshayah. Uttamam. So this is a very powerful verse because at the end, it comes at the last chapter, the 18th chapter, where Shri Krishna has told Arjuna all the reasons why it is so important to act and perform the action that he needs to do, no matter how gruesome it is, for the greater good of humanity. So here, after saying that, he says that in this whole thing, how will you be absolved? He says, you have to offer yourselves to me, give your devotion in me, and you are sure to come to me. So about the Gita, there are lots of people who've said some very powerful quotes, and this is one by Mahatma Gandhi, where he says that Gita, he sees it as a ray of hope. He says, when doubts haunt me, when disappointments stare me in the face, and I see not one ray of hope on the horizon, I turn to the Bhagavad Gita and find a verse to comfort me, and immediately begin to smile in the midst of overwhelming sorrow. So a lot to think about it there. Shubhaste panthanaha. May your paths be happy and may they be auspicious, may they be good. So with these words, I will let you practice based on this session that we have conducted. Lot to do. Bahu abhyasasya avasarah asti. Kripaya kurvantu. Shubham astu.